Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Just Be Held Mentoring Ministries. This message involves a vision that I recently had concerning Daniel in the lion's den. Okay, so this is kind of my story and something that is pertaining to me. But God is using my story to share with other people because there are other people who will be able to relate. So if this is something that you can relate to, then that is really good. If not, then this is just a story, okay? This is not just a image that God showed me. This is something that connects to something that happened in the past and relating to a testimony message, okay? So he gave me an image of Daniel in the lion's den, but I replaced Daniel then with me and was talking to me about how I have been these past few months in my personal lion's den. Now, the lions that are surrounding me are people that I know, and some of those out there that I don't know who have been monitoring me. Okay, and God has already given me insight. He's already given me wisdom to who each one of these lions are, but there are a number of them. Okay, so I was given some insight and some knowledge pertaining to that, and reminded of something that happened several years ago, okay? And I can't tell you the full story because it's not only my story, not only my testimony, there are other people involved, okay? There's certain details that I'm going to share, but you know, they do have to do with someone else, okay? So I'm going to do my best to maintain privacy, but this happened several years ago, and I was getting ready for bed. And this happened during a particular season when there were more like warfare things going on at that time as well. But anyway, I was getting ready for bed, and I verbally heard my stepfather's voice, and he called my name a couple of times. And I made the mistake of not praying, not taking that into prayer, not covering it. There was no fear, and at that particular moment, I didn't feel like there were other spirits or anything around me. I just went to bed. I was also just very tired. I went to bed, and I had what I thought was a dream. Now, my dreams are not just like any dreams. They're very colorful, very vivid. I can touch, I can feel, I can taste. And there are things that I can only do in my dreams. And a lot of times I'm aware that they are dreams. And I have the ability to control dreams and whatnot. But in this case, I knew that this dream was different. I thought probably a prophetic dream or with a meaning, and it certainly did, but it wasn't just any dream, because when I woke up from that dream, and not much longer, I realized, I got a call from my mom saying that my dad was in a coma. Okay, so more than a month later, I was able to visit with him, and he shared his experience while he was in the coma. And there was also other things that happened around that time where he had actually died, and we were having a hard time trying to bring him back, and they thought that he was completely gone. I mean, he had no pulse and just a vegetable. In that particular time, he said that in his experience, he's seen his body, he was outside of his body, and he was giving details to the doctor about what was happening. And they were able to revive him. But then right after that, because he was very weak, he was also dealing with a lot lot of heart issues and other things at the time too concerning his health. He went into a coma, and he was in a coma for over 30 days. I don't know the exact number of days, but it was somewhere around a month. And after he came out of that coma, by the way, he came out on his own, and they were ready to give up on him. They tried to bring him out safely, but that was not happening. They were talking to my mom about possibilities of him not coming through, and if he did, what things could look like, and just getting ready to unplug him. He came out on his own. It was a miraculous thing. There were so many miraculous things around this whole story that happened, even I can tell some details, but in another time. Okay, so when he came out, he was giving me details about things that he's seen, things that he was witnessing while in the coma. And when he got to a particular part, I remembered the dream that I had that night, okay, because he was giving me the details of my dream. So then I really put the dots together and knew all at once that that was not just a dream, it was actually a spiritual encounter, and we had been connected in that moment, which I can tell you how later, okay? But in my dream, and my part of the story, okay, I was taken to this place, or I had just come to this place, and it was almost otherworldly, and there was a city or some structures being built that was very reminiscent of a city, made out of scrap metals and just different things that you could put together to build these structures. And in this one area, there was sort of it was like a little train station area. You can go down into the subway. Okay, but before I could get around to that section, there was this one area where I was, and I don't really remember what all that looked like. I do remember though that once I got there, I immediately was in the presence of these dark, shadowy figures, and I knew that they were demons, and I knew well enough at that point that I had to call on the Lord. And the Lord didn't appear, but the Lord did provide me with certain abilities and things. So I was given a sword, and the sword was just a fire sword. It was just made out of fire. And without touching, because I knew I couldn't touch or let them touch me, I was slaying these demons, and I made my way around. And somehow I had this ability to stealth myself. And when I did, I went up against a wall area where I went behind the demons that were surrounding him. Okay, so these demons could not see me, they couldn't hear me, and I was able to put some dirt or some kind of paint on my body, and I was scooting around, and I wrote a message on the wall giving him instructions. He seen me, but he knew he couldn't speak to me. So, to cut this short, I was able to return to safety, and he then went on, and we were separated, and he had to fill in the blanks. Now, the Lord reminded me of that dream because of what the message was in part, not the whole message, but the message was talking about the days being numbered and the end of our enemy's reign. So now being back to the lion's den, those are our enemies, and God is going to bring us out. Their days are numbered, okay? And the enemy's reign is over. I am going into this a little bit more in another video, so stay tuned for that. This is Daniel and the Writing on the Wall, guys. See you next time, and God bless.